Hello again! Welcome back. Once more, this is Becca, going by Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow when online, and I'm glad to have you back for this week's tutorial video with Linden's scripting language. I actually to mention, in my own head and my own records, I've been calling this Coder Kitty Teaches. Not as professional a sounding thing, but I'm thinking of actually formally calling it that on the channel. So if y'all have an opinion on that, then go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Anyway, so picking up with the fading picture frame, if you just pull out your fading picture frame from last week, we're going to do two things with it today. We're going to set it up to read textures, which is just a fancy 3D modeling term for pictures, directly from the inventory of your object. And second, we're going to set it up to fade between them automatically on its own. So I would suggest just go pull whatever pictures you want. Whoops, that's right, I was prepping for this and already put those in there. Me being silly. There we go. And pop open your script. We won't need these pre-registered keys anymore. We're not going to do it this way. Bear in mind the technique we're using is only going to work if you have a full permission picture. So let's see, if you have a no copy or no modify or even a no transfer tag on the given picture, it is not going to work for this, only if it does not have that, only if it is full permission. So we're going to set string pick A, string pick B. What those are is just placeholders for the specific pictures you're going to be working with. And we're going to set it up to be able to read these directly out of the inventory of the device. So how we're going to read those? Well, we're going to have to set up a little system to actually go through and scan for them. We're also going to take those out. Pardon me, let me get my cat off my desk. I'm recording, Precious. I will pet you later. We still have if the front equals true, that means if we're working with the front, that still secures which side, whether it's fading in or fading out, and which face we put the picture on. That part can stay just fine. What we're going to do, however, is set this up to scan for which picture. So the first thing you're going to want is how many pictures are in it. To do that, integer get inventory number, inventory texture. This tells it what type of thing to look for. You could be looking for sounds, you could be looking for objects, you could be looking for scripts, you could look for anything, but that will be look for inventory texture. And I made one small mistake here. Integer count equals get inventory number, inventory texture. Here's where we're going to introduce, by the way, something that I tend to do a lot. Integer debug equals true. It's good for anything that's particularly complicated because that will let you go through and set little debug communication to tell you what's going on at any given point. In this case, it also gives me a chance to show you things. Found plus string count plus now, of course, that is not going to be able to run without sending it a key. We're going to take that out since we're no longer using that. Those no longer run without the pick being defined. Need to reinstitute the fade command attached to touch start. Four pictures found inside. That is exactly what we want to see. So, how do we get it to pull up a given one? Well, if we're going to do this randomly, which I personally prefer, especially if you have a lot of pictures in there, that's pretty easy. And how we're going to do that is right down in here. String pick equals llGetInventoryName. What this does is it will get the name of a specific item of a specific type, and you have to tell it both the type and the number. In this case, inventory, texture, and then llRound. What this is, it will round something to the nearest whole number. llFrand, this is your random number generator. And we already know how many pictures are in there because of count. Now bear in mind, you have to close the brackets around there, but this is also an argument contained for round, so you have to close the brackets for that, which is also an argument contained within llGetInventoryName, so you close the bracket for that, and then you can put in your semicolon. Always remember your semicolons. And we know we got all those in there right because it just compiled there. It would have given us an error if that had been wrong. You can copy that. Put it right down here. Actually, don't need to take that. We already have the texture setting there. We just took advantage pick. It already had pick. So those are set. It will randomly pick one of the ones in there to place as the new texture. The other thing you want to do, as long as you're keeping track of things, is if debug owner say chosen pick number string. Actually, we don't have it set to show the number that we're picking, so we're just going to say pick plus pick. And I'll show you in a minute why the way I have the debug set up is so useful. There we go, chosen pick page 4. When it finishes fading, chosen pick page 1. Chosen pick page 4. It's hitting that same one rather often. There's 2. So it's tending to favor particular numbers to give the appearance of. It just tends to trend in a computer sense. That time it didn't find anything. That's interesting that it said it didn't find anything. So let's have a look at that. How do we break that down and look at it? Pretty easy. we take the function for determining your random number, cut, and let's make that simply number, integer, number, equals, copy, paste. Oops. Want to overwrite that. Paste. And we'll change the feedback, chosen pick, plus string, number, plus, add some spaces there. That gives us a little more information on the feedback. There we go. Chosen pick number 2, page 3. Pick 2, page 3. This time 3 is the trending number. We're trying to get the one that came out wrong here, just so we can find out exactly what that problem was. This is one of the problems with debugging, is sometimes it can take you a while to find out exactly what the problem was. And if you're going to have a problem finding out what it was, then you want to go through and force it to give you a specific result. So, to force it, what you would do is in here where it lists number, set the number. At this point, we will pay no attention to the other debug feedback. Okay, 0 and 1 worked. 2 and 3. And remember, we tried 0 because when a computer is tracking the place of things, it always starts at 0. You or I would start at 1. This starts at 0 because it's a computer. And that worked. Now, neither of these should work, 4 and 5. Yep, could not find. And could not find. All right. That gives us a fairly good idea what probably happens there. Because the random number is being generated based on count, which we see, bring this back up, found 4 pictures. When it says that, it's actually giving us the count. Now that would be just fine, since it's rounding count there. That would be just fine if we were doing this as a human would logic it, but we need to remember to do this the way a computer would logic it. which means we probably need to go through and set that to number -1, number -1. Now, instead of giving us a 1 through 4, you give us a 0 through 3. It's still telling us pick number 4 because I changed it in the selection, not in the count. So you want it to properly account for this in computer logic. Make sure you put the -1 after all of the brackets. System makes perfect sense for a human. But now it can come out with a pick -1. So clearly, that does not work either. So we have to get it to actually tell us what the problem was that it had. Why did it have that issue? Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it can take you a long time to come across it. It's one of the downsides of debugging is that the answers aren't always simple. There we go. It could not find texture something. Chosen pick 4. So that's what went on. It can get 0, which gives it page 1, or it can pick 4. So our random number generator is capable of sending a number outside the range of what we can let it have. So we put the -1 on the count. Or even better, put it up here. Now it should never be able to get a number in that range again. Pick 0, pick 2, pick 1, number 3. The random number actually can go from 0 through, as we've proven. But we want to test. You always want to test. There we go. Pick 3, page 4. That confirms it's capable of throwing any one of them. Now, if you want to make your debug feedback continue to look correct, while being accurate, whoops, not -2, right there. That will now take care of all of those parts. Now, the other thing I said that I would teach you to do with these is to set them to automatically fade. I will dig a little more into the random number values and see if I can figure out a better algorithm for you for controlling that. I think I've gotten by on just having a stupid number of pictures in there. So I will see if I can find a little better way to tweak the random numbers and give you a better range of numbers instead of one of them coming up so much more rarely. But the other part, state entry, if you recall, is for anytime the script starts up, set timer event. Let us say, for demonstration purposes, we'll set it to 3. Then timer Now, every 3 seconds, it will automatically fade. There it goes. It just detected the pictures inside. My mistake here. We want to move the reduction of the count to below where it tells you how many it found. So now it gives you your accurate count for human reading, and then it reduces it to better feed the random number generator. Now, 3 seconds is really going to be too much for most circumstances. As you see, it just automatically triggers as soon as it finishes a previous one. 90 is going to be better for a real purpose. That's a minute and a half. 90 seconds. Now, the last thing that I'm going to show you this week is if you change this integer from true to false, it helps if you, unlike me, actually spell it correctly. Now I click it, and you see it go through its fade, but it produces no more debug feedback. This is really convenient. Really convenient. This allows you to set up all of that information that can tell you what's going on inside the script whenever you want to know it, and then as soon as you no longer need it, it is gone. Yeah, we'll throw a few of these in here. Just the first two. So here's how you change that. Turns out there's one more thing I'm going to teach you. You want to have it automatically update your counts every time something goes in there? No problem. There's actually a better way than what I'm just writing in there. Come to think of it, we can actually filter for the type of change. And how do you find that? You take a quick pop over to the wiki, where I find a reference to exactly what the call is. Changed and that assures that the only change it recognizes, if it is a change to the inventory, to the things I put inside it, in that case it will reset the script. Resetting is a great way to guarantee that the script goes through and acknowledges whatever the new state is, whatever thing you've altered. Apologies there. Is recognized automatically. I give that a few more cycles and it will actually go through to, there we go. A picture of my actual purple hair. Notice the only thing, I didn't do anything that told it to adapt the inventory. I didn't tell it to change any of that. I just made sure that it would reset. And it adapted to the change. And there's the other one. So all you really have to do if you want to go through and update this now is, let's see, yes, I'm very fond of anime there. These are in here because I was using them to help flesh out stuff that would look like advertisements across my cyberpunk sim here. But I dropped those in there. That will have forced a reset. And there you go. Without even touching the code again, it's already adapted to the new part. That is how you do that. I will look in to see if there's a better way to keep the random number generator from favoring certain numbers quite so strongly. But that is how you make a fading picture frame right there. So, for those of you this is a help for, I really would appreciate it if you could take the time to leave a like and or comment on the channel. It really does help out quite a bit. It really does help me see that this is actually benefiting people, that people are actually learning from this. If you have any particular types of programming you want to see more of, go ahead and comment, make requests. I've got plenty of ideas, but I already know how to do this stuff. This is for the rest of you. So if there's things you particularly want to know, like this was a user request to do this now, go ahead and put the comments in there. I check them regularly. So enough of that. That's it for this week. I post these every Tuesday, usually noon Eastern Standard Time. So see you back next week, and until then, good day, good luck, and good coding.